Today we're counting down our picks for top 10 worst blue or green screen effects in movies. For this list, we'll be looking at the movie sequences on the big screen that filmmakers created using chroma key effects. Whether it was green screen, blue screen, or any other color with disastrous results. Let's get started. Number 10. Ejector Seat. Die Hard 2, Die Harder, 1990. How could filmmakers possibly up the ante on the high-octane action scene in the original Die Hard? While they came up with some interesting ideas, things didn't always end up entirely convincing, especially as the film aged. The worst offender is a scene where John McClane must escape an airplane that's about to explode via an ejector seat. Number 9. Muppet Dance. Labyrinth, 1986. We loved this John Henson flick as kids, but when we grew up and took off our rose-colored glasses, we saw some flaws. Case in point, the uncomfortable effects used in this song and dance sequence featuring the Fireys. Because Muppets are puppets and don't actually move on their own, filmmakers needed to find a way to hide the puppeteers who were maneuvering them. Number 8. Dropping By. Star Trek V: The Final Frontier, 1989. For the first 3 big screen Star Trek outings, effects geniuses Industrial Light and Magic had brought things to life, but they were busy with Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, and Ghostbusters 2 when The Final Frontier was in production. So filmmakers hired a lesser-known, less expensive team and completed as many projects and effects as possible in camera. A glaring issue left the film was the shot of Shatner scaling El Capitan in Yosemite and falling, only to be caught by Spock and his trusty levitating boots. Shatner was filmed falling in front of a blue screen, with shots of Yosemite later edited in, but the end result is a classic blue screen blunder if we ever seen one. Number 7. Tsunami Surfing. Die Another Day, 2002. Made in an era when filmmakers had begun to increasingly rely on digital effects, this 20th entry in the James Bond franchise fell victim to the more is less rule. The scene in question sees Bond trying to escape a giant wave created by the Icarus satellite by kitesurfing his way around glaciers and more, with Pierce Brosnan filmed in front of a blue screen and the computer-generated glaciers and wave added later. The CGI effects took roughly a year to perfect. Number 6. Hanging Around. Batman and Robin, 1997. Dubiously set in Gotham City that was riddled with neon, Batman and Robin relied heavily on visual effects, using 450 in total, which was roughly 150 than Batman Forever. Director Joel Schumacher reminded his actors before every take that the movie they were making was a cartoon, and that set the tone for this motorcycle race and its laughable chroma key climax where Dick Grayson saves Barbara Gordon from certain doom high above the city. Though it may not be the most laughable effect on the film, the keyed-in background does seem in sync with Alicia Silverstone as she hangs perilously from great heights. No wonder this movie killed the Batman franchise. Number 5. Jeep Chase. Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, 2008. Indiana Jones is a high-profile action franchise known for its stunts, but his first film appearance in 19 years didn't do the beloved character justice. Steven Spielberg made it clear before production began that this newest entry would use as little CGI as possible, while practicality and computer-generated animals seemingly won out over artistic integrity, and lots of CGI and fake-looking green screen effects ended up in the final edit. Number 4. All of It. Sky Captain and the World of Tomorrow, 2004. A lot of time and effort was spent on perfecting the visual style of this advanced version of 1939, and we applaud the gutsy decision to do something so different. Shot almost entirely on blue screen sound stages in under a month, Sky Captain was an interesting experiment. Unfortunately, in this case, it failed. With very few physical props or sets, the actors were basically only aspects of the film not created by a computer. That means approximately 2,000 CGI shots, plus filmmakers ended up having to write code to pull it off. Impressive? Number 3. Flying. Superman 4: The Quest for Peace, 1987. We can basically blame the bad effects in this movie on one thing: the budget. Whereas the original 1978 Superman was renowned for its impressive visual effects, those effects got less remarkable as the franchise wore on. By the time the fourth film rolled out, filming had moved out of New York to England, which was haphazardly transformed into Metropolis, mainly with the help of a few pigeons. But Superman's characteristic power of flight was perhaps the worst casualty. With those effects looking so amateur, you might forget you're watching a Hollywood film. With the actors lit differently than those images appearing on the screen in the background, we wouldn't blame you for thinking you could do a better job at home. Number 2. Child's Play. Spy Kids franchise, 2001 to 11. Robert Rodriguez is the visionary filmmaker behind films like Sin City and Desperado, so it's strange that in between those two imaginatively shot films, he began a film franchise that proved to be the opposite. All told, all 4 Spy Kids films had a budget of $154 million, which in this day and age is a fraction of some standalone films. But according to Rodriguez himself, creativity, not money, is used to solve problems that may have made the franchise a cash cow, and the bad effects may even be invisible to their target audience. But as adults, we can't help but look at the green screen scenes throughout this series and think that Spy Kids is a lowlight in an otherwise impressive. Number 1. What Not to Do. Ultraviolet, 2006. When Mila Jovovich signed on to star with this film, we can only assume she had no way of knowing how terribly put together the end result would be. Less convincing than an animation your cousin made by messing around on his computer for half an hour, very few of the effects in this relatively low-budget action flick up under scrutiny. While the library fight is certainly painful to watch, it's the sequence where a motorcycle drives up the side of a building and stand out most, with the film's studio, screen gems, cutting time, and story elements from the film's plot. Ultraviolet had a lot to make up for and served as a cautionary tale of what not to do. This brings us to the end of our video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit like if you did, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss out on any of our videos in the future. Also, watch 2 videos that are on your screen because I am sure that you'll love them. With that, I'll see you in the next video.